So, aside from, I am in the middle of building what I'm calling my American lute. It's here in the background with the tin strings. But as a side note, something else I periodically do is I fix up some instruments if I acquire one, you know, and usually the way that happens is someone gives me something that is in bad shape, and sometimes so bad it's ready for the dumpster, and I figure out how to turn it into something, glue it back together, fix it, what have you. So I have an instrument here. I'm going to do a restoration project. It's not a very big project, to be honest. It's just a quick restoration. It's a Hohner Japanese made classical guitar. It appears that everything's in good order as far as the glue, the braces, the finish. There's no big holes or anything like that. And this is a Japanese made. It is back in the day, they were actually a pretty good instrument all in all. So the plan is to clean it up. And so you can see the strings are hanging off of it. It's missing some tuners. I I've got some I'm going to put on there. Um, and the way it happened was actually a friend of mine was at work, and someone said, "Hey, I've got a couple instruments that are really just good for parts, and if you know somebody that might be able to use them," and my friend said, "I know a guy, because he knows I'll turn it into something." And he'll probably get this back. He doesn't know that yet, but I probably will restore it, make it sound and play really good, and then give it back to him. The one thing I will do, this is not wood. Uh, I like the look of it, uh, except when you actually look at it closely. It's some kind of vinyl stickum, like you'd line shelf paper or something. And so I don't really like that. So it's going to come off, and I'll have to heat it and peel it off, and I'll probably make uh, something identical to that in veneer and replace it, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be hard to get the finish to look right without redoing the whole thing. And I really just want it to be a deal where I clean it up, put some tuning machines in, and string it and make it sound good. So and if I have, I think I have an extra controller, so I might install some a paddle on the soundboard, a transducer paddle on the soundboard with a volume and tone control here. Um, I'm still thinking that through. And then play it a little bit and give it back to the guy that gave it to me and let him have fun with it. So that's the project. As I go along, I'll show you what it is happening. And the first order of business is it's got a lot of just gunk on it. So I'm going to clean the gunk off. The I will say the first time I got a guitar uh, to clean up was a nylon string. I was kind of wanting one to play around with, and went into a junk store, and lo and behold, there was a couple there, and they were $75, and uh, they were the ones that were there probably weren't worth the $75, except one. And I picked it up and looked at it and went, "Wow, this one happens to be solid wood," which this is also a cedar top, so that's good news. And I looked at it. Oh, this is solid wood, and saw, oh, this is made in Spain, and took it home, and it was just covered with mildew and junk, and I cleaned it up. I just cleaned it, and when I did, the finish was like brand new. My daughter has it now. I did such a good job on it. She absconded with it. And I also put Larrivee classical electronics in it, got it all set up, and then she fell in love with it and started using it, which I'm actually quite happy with. So I looked it up. It was an Esteve, of course, and when I looked that particular model of Esteve up, it was a $1,500 guitar, and I bought it in a junk store for $7,500, and it was like brand new. I did narrow, I did narrow the neck. When I decided I was in love with the guitar, I narrowed the neck a little bit for my personal preference. And my wife at the time, well, she's still my wife. At the time, my wife said, "I can't believe you're going to cut on a brand new guitar," and so did my daughter, who absconded with it. But the narrowed neck was perfect for her smaller hands. And it wasn't a lot narrow. It's still a classical, but it wasn't as wide as this one either. Um, just to kind of help her get her hands around it. And, a lot of people will, you're going to start sanding and changing things on a $1,500 instrument. Well, first of all, I didn't pay that. And second of all, it's mine and I wanted to do it. So it came out great. I'll have to show it to you sometime. But of course, she's in university. So that's what we're doing. I hope you enjoy the process of this restoration. So I've been working on this restoration. You see, I got that cheesy vinyl pick guard off. It looks like this. It's just kind of one of those rubberized deals. And so I don't know. That was a 70s thing or something. Anyhow, took that off. Got all the glue. Normally I'd probably use something like Goof Off to get that glue off. I didn't have any. I thought I did. So I used liquid wrench and worked on it with just a silicone scraper and got it all off. It was a gooey, ugly mess. And then I washed it down with Murphy's oil soap. It's dusty on the back from being on the work pad. But we'll wipe it down again. But, Murphy's oil soap, great stuff. Got it all cleaned up. I'm actually going to cut some pick guard out of this veneer, I think, and put that on there. I tend not to have pick guards because I like as lively as I can get the top, but it had one. And so if I use something thin like veneer to put that on, and I'll just kind of make it the exact same shape, thinking of putting one up here just to give it that look, kind of a flamenco type of thing. And I'll just sand that real smooth and oil that wood so it's oiled like the fretboard will be. And then we'll hide the scratches on the back after we'll Murphy oil soap it again, and then we'll hide all the scratches on the side and the back with Old English, and put some strings on it and tuners and play it. I finished this quick restoration on this Hohner classical guitar. So it was, honestly, someone was really just getting rid of it because it was ready to be tossed. Some of the tuners were missing. It was really just dirty. And had strings on it, all that kind of stuff. And I decided to, fix it up. And what I did on that, I didn't, and I showed you that earlier, I didn't really, start over with it. All of this, that's Murphy's oil soap and Old English. So I just cleaned it up with Murphy's oil soap all over, and then I rubbed all the dark parts with Old English, and I put fret oil on the fretboard. I did spray one thin coat of lacquer on the top. I left it looking distressed, but it needed something. I had to do something. So it was just one rattle can of Deft high gloss, just a shot at once. And what I did for the pick guard, you recall, I didn't like the one that was on there because it was vinyl. And I took it off, and it was here. And I copied it with the veneer, actual wood veneer, and then mirrored it so I have one on each side. And I just did that, to give it a more custom look. And I'm going to pass this along to the guy that found it and gave it to me. So he thought I'd have fun doing something with it and didn't know I was going to give it to him. I still doesn't. I'm going to do that today. And I put some electronics in it, and they were pieced together. I had an under the saddle braid that could go there, and I had this unit that came out of a Dean acoustic bass, and I married the two together and got some electronics and actually plugged in. It reproduces the sound very well, and so I'm pleased with that. And here's what it sounds like acoustically. So came out well. I hope my friend enjoys it. I'm confident he will. So if you find an instrument that's rough and you want to play around with it, it can't hurt. If you get one that's free and someone was going to get rid of it, it can't hurt to work on it. And the tuners were $7 and change, and the strings were $6 and change, and that's what I spent on it. So, a little over $13 to $14, and made a playable guitar that anybody could enjoy, and the action's really quite good on it, and plays well, and I'm very happy with how it came out.